Hello students and welcome to another video. I'm your teacher, Mr. Flynn, and today we're going to be talking about Punnett squares and we're going to be talking about selective breeding. Alright, and this is basically applying the principles from the previous video. Okay, that's why this is titled Applied Genetics. We're applying the foundational principles. And if you're a little lost as we go through this, just go back and watch the previous video. It's going to go through and break all this down nicely for you. But now we're just going to be organizing them and looking at it in an image. Alright, now there's two types of Punnett squares that we're going to focus on. We have monohybrid and dihybrid. So mono means one. So we just have one trait that we are looking at. And a dihybrid cross, that means two. We're looking at two traits at the same time. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at crossing two hybrids. Now, if he says monohybrid, right, a hybrid is a single, this is the single characteristic. Big Y represents the dominant form of the gene, and then lowercase represents the recessive form of a gene. So, and we call these alleles. Okay, so these are different variations of a gene. And in seed color, dominance is in the yellow is the dominant trait. So capital Y is going to represent yellow, and lowercase y is going to represent the recessive trait of green. Now you'll notice that the yellow seeds, there is 1, 2, 3 of them that are formed from this cross. And what we've done is we've taken these traits, right, these two hybrids here, and we are seeing what kind of combinations we can come up with. And we've got 3 yellow seeds here in the middle. And then we have 1 green seed. And this may come back to what we were talking about before. Everything, when it comes to crossing hybrids, it always comes in a 3-to-1 ratio. And this is why. Because if we were to cross this 4 times, the odds of us getting at least 1 green seed is 3-to-1. Okay, and this is showing that for us here in this Punnett square. Now, just as a review, okay, the phenotype and the genotype. The phenotype is the color of the seed, so this one is green. The genotype is the coding. It's the letters that we're looking at, okay, and they are expressed as dominant and recessive. So let's just separate those. So we're looking at a hybrid, 2 hybrids put together, and we're seeing what combinations we can come up with. Okay? Now down below, we have a dihybrid cross. So what we're doing is we're taking a yellow round seed. Okay, you can see this is yellow and round. And then we have green and wrinkled. So the green and wrinkled are both recessive, and the yellow and round are dominant forms of the trait. And then we're going to come up with a hybrid, and this hybrid is going to have a combination of all 4 types of alleles. So we'll have big Y, big R, little r right here. And what we're going to do is set it up in our Punnett square, and we're going to do this twice, like once for the first parent and then one for the second parent. Okay, you got to remember when these hybrids, like if we're looking up here, like this one could be mom and this one could be dad. Right? We're looking at the shared characteristics from both parents. And in this example, we have to set these up. And what we're going to do is take this and create combinations. So the first letter is big Y, big R. So there's that one right there. And then we could do big Y, little r, which is this one. We could do little y, big R, which is that one. And then little y, little r. And that's that one right there. Okay? And so what we can do is just set it up and start to play out those characteristics by crossing them. So we list our y's first. So this is big Y, and then big R, and that's going to be right there. Right? Just like when we do at the very far right, bottom corner, we have little y, and then little r, like this. And so you got to remember, if you want the trait to be expressed, and if it's recessive, we need 2 little y's, right? If you have a big Y and a little y, well, the yellow is going to express itself, okay? And if we want our seed to be wrinkled, okay, then we are going to be looking at having 2 recessive little r's, all right? And you'll notice that what we're seeing here makes sense. Most of the seeds should be yellow and round, and we can see that there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 of the 16 options are round and yellow because that's the dominant form of the allele types, okay? And then you'll even see there's a couple rare wrinkled yellow seeds, right? So they're dominant for the color, but recessive for that for the roundness and wrinkledness. Okay, but the most rare type will be the recessive form of both, and out of 16, there's only going to be one seed that's going to be wrinkly and green. Okay, so as we break these down, this will take some practice, and you'll do this in class and do some practice, and you'll be doing some Punnett squares. All right, but as we go through here, just recognize the purpose of Punnett squares is to figure out what are the odds of a trait being passed down. Okay, so if parents are both homozygous, like if, just say for example, mom is big Y, then that trait's definitely getting passed down. But if mom is carrying a little y in here, it's a hybrid, then that trait has the possibility of being passed down, okay, if dad also has that recessive trait to be passed down as well. Okay, all right, now down at the bottom we have what we call selective breeding. Okay, and there's two types of selective breeding. We have hybridization and inbreeding. So for example, in hybridization, okay, I have two corn, actually there's two corn being interbred, and you're going to see that there's a large corn, and then this one's a little smaller, and what we're doing is we're trying to combine traits to get a good outcome, because we are trying to not allow nature to decide what the trait should be. Like, for example, let me actually back up for a moment. Like, if you think of it this way, like if you have dogs at home, right, you can think of all of the variety of dogs that we have, okay? Nature did not select those dogs. Like, my Australian Shepherd was not selected by nature. Some human being said, oh, that dog would go great with this dog, and let's breed them so that we can get a desired trait, okay? If nature were to decide, I think wolves were that type of animal that nature would pick, because they want something that's fast, small enough and nimble enough to get around, okay, to hunt for prey, right? Because if they got too large, then they couldn't sneak up on prey like they do, right? And then also bigger animals require more energy, so that means they need to feed more often. Okay, so if you think about just characteristics of a wolf, right? You can think that like there's a reason they are the size they are, right? The reason they have the characteristic they have because nature has selected for that. And when I say nature selected, I mean the pressures that nature selects, right? They have thick furry coats because they live in a winterous area, okay? They can run fast. They travel in packs, right? Because that niche that they've created for themselves works, okay? And the same thing's going on with corn, right? Corn actually used to be like a tiny grain, and we have basically selectively bred this thing to be a massive starch-producing crop, okay? And a lot of the corn we use is for fuel and ethanol. But what we want is fast-growing and large. That's what we want, fast-growing and large. And so if we breed these two, maybe we can create something that is in between. It has both those characteristics, okay? And then to keep those characteristics, we're going to breed only the fast and large corn together to keep getting fast and large corn, okay? All right. There's videos I've seen online of these massive cows, like males, and they've selectively bred them to be these massive cows, right? And they use them for breeding because they want to keep those characteristics and pass them down, because we have stepped in and said we're going to play nature and we're going to selectively breed. And we want to maintain those traits, so we want to keep using the same type of, not the same type, but the same traits of that organism. We want to keep those, okay? All right, thanks again for watching. If you have questions, please come talk with me. Until next time.